Greetings YouTube, Heinrich here, aka the guy that's more down to earth than a well-warmed piece of roadkill. And welcome back to the channel where today we're going to look at this device over here. OPPO Reno 7 5G because it's on the box. As I said before the intro, today we're going to be looking at this device, which is the OPPO Reno 7 5G. I feel like it's not necessary to say 5G anymore because most devices coming out these days does have 5G. So it's going to become like, you know, a redundant thing to say. Before we get into the details of the cell phone, please allow me to send a big shout out to OPPO South Africa for giving me this device to create this video, to use this device and create content around it. Me and I think 3 or 4 other creators got this device. We are the first on the continent to have it. Weird flex, I know, but okay, right? And then it's actually a very nice cell phone. It feels good in the hand. The soft edges are nice round around the edges. Nice and round around the edges. It's got this cool pearlescent effect in the back, which is freaking dope. And even though it is the smaller variation, because the OPPO Reno 7 Pro is the bigger one, but this feels like a big phone, but not too big, man. It's not obnoxious in your pocket or in your hand. I've got small hands, and it feels really good in the hand. Anyway, going off topic, thank you, OPPO South Africa. And now we'll get into the details of the device. So the battery capacity is 4,500 milliamp hours. I think I said that correctly. I've never reviewed a cell phone in my life. The broadband generation is 5G. Display type is OLED. And it comes with a fast charging thing, with a brick. Fast charging brick. It's huge, like a freaking huge brick like that. And the charging is phenomenal. Okay, there's one day I came home at like 5 o'clock and it was on like 3%, plugged it in, and then before 6 o'clock it was on 100%. I think it was 3% to 100% in 45 to 50 minutes. Fantastic. Pixel density is 409 ppi. It's got 8 gigs of RAM. It's a single slot SIM card. Operating system is Android. You know what? The specifics is, that's not what, listen, we review cameras and photography and video on this channel. So why don't we just jump straight into the camera? Yeah. So the behind is very impressive. So the behind of this device is where it gets really impressive, because it boasts a 26mm 64 megapixel 1.7 aperture lens. And you can double that as a macro lens as well, but then the aperture goes to 2.4 and it's 2 megapixels. So I even though the features there, I don't recommend it because you lose all that megapixels, right? And then below the main camera, you've got an ultra wide f2.2 or 2.2 aperture, 8 megapixel 13mm camera. Very impressive. Front camera is also, or the front lens is also impressive because it's a 32 megapixel camera lens. Camera. It's a 32 megapixel lens, 24mm 2.4 aperture. So that's on my camera over there. That is a 24mm 2.8 aperture. But of course, there's adjustable aperture on my camera. There's not adjustable aperture on the cell phone because of how small the lenses are and how small the sensor is. So I think that's a trade-off. The main thing I like about this device is the Pro mode. Pro mode is absolutely fantastic because it gives you the features of having like a DSLR in your hand. So me as a self-taught photography enthusiast, I know how to use aperture, ISO and those things, which you probably also do, and OPPO has given you all those features in this cell phone. There's also a whole bunch of features that comes with these amazing cameras, right? So you obviously got the selfie beautification thing in the front, which I personally don't like because sometimes it can really make it look like it looks like someone has just done too much retouching, you know, but you can turn that completely off and you don't ever have to use it. There's a night mode as well, there's video mode. Speaking about the video, these are the video details. The rear camera shoots 4K at 30 frames per second. The front camera shoots 1080p at 30 frames per second. There's slow motion as well, which comes in like 3 variations, right? You can shoot at 960 frames per second, but that will only be 720p and you can only shoot for 2 seconds. You can shoot at 480 frames per second, but that will be at 1080p, so full HD, but also only for 2 seconds. Or you can shoot at 420 frames per second, which is also full HD, 1080p, right? But you have unlimited recording time. So, through my experience, 240 frames per second is way more than enough. You can really slow that down and get that smooth slow motion without having to use optical flow or the equivalent in Final Cut Pro that I obviously don't know what it is because I use Premiere Pro. Irrelevant information, okay? And then with those video features, going to the next one is normal camera mode, and then you can turn the 64 megapixels on or off. When you turn it off, you get a whole bunch of other features that goes with the phone, and the phone does its own thing, and you can actually do like an ultra zoom, but I prefer to keep the normal 64 megapixel because I want all the quality out of my phone, and then I just get creative with when I'm shooting. You know, then you can put AI mode on, which I don't know what AI does really. I honestly don't know what it does, but it does give you more richer colors when you do take your photos. Then you do get portrait mode that also has the software generated bokeh. You obviously know that cell phones, they are becoming very good at edge detection, but sometimes it does get something wrong when you are standing with a cell phone like this and someone takes a photo of you and there's like a gap here. The cell phone doesn't exactly know that it's supposed to cut that out as well. And if you get like a lot of very frizzy hair, it's difficult for any software or any cell phone to identify all those small strands of hair, so you'll be able to see the object isolation is not done that well. But for the most part, it actually does an exceptional job of isolating the object from the background and applying that bokeh that you require in the background to create that depth of field, because the sensors are so small and you can't control the aperture, right? The Pro mode on this device is my favorite mode because OPPO has given you all the tools you use when you are using a mirrorless or a DSLR camera. You know, I just realized I said that it gives you all the tools that you have when you have a mirrorless or a DSLR camera, but that's not the truth, right? Because of the fact that you can't control the aperture. So the tools that you do have in Pro mode with this device is ISO, shutter speed, auto or manual focus, and white balance. And those are basically the things that you use in a consumer grade camera, like a Canon, Nikon, whatever your preference is, DSLR or mirrorless, that's what you use, except for aperture, of course. When you go into Pro mode, everything is on auto because the camera has just come out of photo mode where it was adjusting everything for you into Pro mode. So everything is in auto because the camera is still adjusting everything. But the moment you tap on a setting and you change it, then auto is off. And it doesn't mean that you're going to change your shutter speed and then the ISO is going to automatically adjust. No, you can switch all of that off and you can have full control of all those manual settings in the camera. And I do recommend everyone shoot manual. That's a conversation for another day. But what does this all mean? This basically means if you don't have the budget for a cell phone and a camera, and you're looking to purchase both of them, all of this is saying that why don't just buy this device where you get both of them, right? But you're not going to get the quality of a DSLR or mirrorless camera simply because those have interchangeable lenses, whereas this, you only have these two at the back and this one in front, right? But I would say if you are someone looking to get into photography and you don't yet, and you don't want to buy yourself a big camera yet, but you do have to get yourself an upgrade on your cell phone, I do recommend the OPPO Reno 7 because it does take fantastic photos. I mean, 64 megapixels. Jeez Louise. You know what? I'm not gonna try and convince you. I'll just show you some of the photos that I've taken. So you remember how I mentioned the video specifications earlier? I should have mentioned that the onboard memory is 256 gigs on this device, right? So I don't recommend shooting at 4K all the time because you're going to burn through that memory easy. But it is enough to hold on to a couple of Full HD files, more than a couple, like quite a lot of Full HD files, yeah. And if you want to vlog, this device is a good vlogging device as well, because of the 32 megapixel front camera. The specs I'm going to give you next is necessary for what I'm going to say afterwards, right? So the chipset is a MediaTek MT6877 Dimensity 905G 6nm. Don't know what that means. The CPU is an octa-core 2 by 4.4 GHz Cortex A78 and a 6 by 2 GHz Cortex A55. No idea what that means, but I can tell you that I could seamlessly connect this device wirelessly through my modem with the IP address, and I could use it as an external or extra camera on my stream with almost no lag. It was absolutely fantastic. How's it going? CK, welcome back, bro. So back to this. Yeah, you've been here before. Okay, cool. So we've got this button that when we press this button, it's called Mystery Cam. And now we are looking through the device, my good man. And look how beautiful. There is no lag, because with other devices there are lag. The picture quality is much better than any of my other devices. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. So that's how it's. So there we go. Hamilton going to take the season easily. Class. Listen, I'm running out of battery. Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, a big shout out to OPPO Reno South Africa, and also GrowZA for giving me this opportunity to work with the content creators I worked with, to meet the people I did, and to work with this device. Until next time, thanks for watching. Cheers.